6 months ago, I fitted an Android head unit, upgraded my speaker, and I fitted a reversing camera to my T5. Very happy with it. Sounds great, works great. But today, I will show you how to fit an underseat powered subwoofer. The method's the same, whether you spend 30 quid or 300 quid. I've gone mega cheap with this. Basically, it started off as a £32 powered sub. I've took it to bits and built a new enclosure for it. Only 8-inch. It's not big, it's not powerful. It's never going to impress anyone who's really into car audio, but it's done exactly what I wanted it to do. It's added bass and it's made the stereo sound considerably better. So I'm going to show you now how I've made this from the start. At the end, I will go over what I think of it and whether I recommend it or not. So wiring this is quite straightforward. It does include all the wiring. It's just a power wire to the battery, a earth wire, the audio wire, which goes to the subwoofer output of the head unit, and the amp control wire, which is just going to turn the amp on when the stereo's on. If you're fitting this to a factory unit without a subwoofer output or audio outputs, you've also got this wiring, which you can use to connect to the speakers. So I'm going to be mounting this subwoofer under my driver's seat. I'm running my stereo off my leisure battery, which in turn is charged by the vehicle battery. So I've just got to run the power wire under this passenger seat. The earth is going to go to an existing earth point under the seat. And then the audio wire and the amp control wire are going to run up under this cab floor and then up to the head unit. First thing I'm going to do is get this seat out, so that's 4 bolts, 2 at the front, 2 at the back. And then I'm going to get the seat base out and get all this floor matting up. So I've followed the existing wiring loom under this matting, just cable tied it to that. So that runs along there and then it runs up sort of behind the dash, behind all the gear stick. The earth point's just there. And then I've run the wires to my leisure battery. There's a channel sat there with the wires in. So I didn't even need to lift that seat base up. So the back of my head unit, I've got all sorts of video and audio wires. I'm not sure what a lot of them do. There's audio's out, video's out, but I do have a subwoofer output there. So you've got an audio out right and audio out left. I could connect it that way, it did the same thing. And then I've got the amp control wire. So that just turns the amp on when the stereo comes on. So because I've got this subwoofer wire, I only need to connect one of the RCA cables. I have soldered that. I just need some different size heat shrink to finish it off. So this powered sub does include all the wiring, but it doesn't include any connectors. I've got these uninsulated fork and ring terminals, and then I'll just heat shrink over that. So I've got all the connectors on the wires now. All the wires are running in place. The earth's connected to the chassis. The power wire has gone directly to the battery. It's got a 20 amp fuse on it. It's not a powerful amp and sub, so it doesn't need crazy big fuses and massive wiring. So when I first connected this up, could not get it to work. After about half an hour of scratching my head, I realised that you have to enable it in the screen. So you just pull down there and then you've got car amplifier. I just saw that by chance. So you can turn this sub on and off on the screen as well. So I'm going to get all of this, the dials set up now. I'm not sure what that bass full is. I will play around with it. I'm guessing full means it uses that tweeter as well. I'm going to be getting rid of that tweeter when I make the new enclosure for it. Frequency, and this is just what I've read, frequency for subwoofer should be about 80 hertz. So I'll set it up at that. The bass dial, again, I'm not 100% sure what that's going to do. I'm just going to play around with that a bit. So the way to set up the subwoofer volume is to put the head unit at 2/3 of its full power, which is 20 on this one. And then slowly, starting at 0, play some music and turn that volume up until the speaker starts distorting, and then back it off a bit. I'm going to try this with a few different songs. I will mess about with the bass a bit. Unfortunately, I'll have to do this off camera because of copyright on music. So that took quite a while to set up. It was pretty different on different songs. It does distort pretty quick, which suggests to me that the amp is a lot better than the actual speaker. So this volume is on out of 10, it's probably on about 2. It does sound promising though. It's definitely got a real kick to it. Definitely going to be enough for me. So I'm just going to quickly explain how to connect the speaker wires if you are just using the factory head unit. It doesn't have any outputs. So you would plug this in instead of the RCA audio cables. You've got positive and negative to right and a positive and negative to left. You pick up those speakers, either go into these doors here, probably under there as well, or probably the easiest is to run it behind the head unit and pick up the speaker wires there. So that's all connected, that's working. I've been running it like this for a couple of days. I've not even mounted it really, and it sounds fine. So you could just leave it like that. I'd be putting brackets in and mounting that, probably something like this. I'm not going to be doing that. I've already decided I'm going to custom make an enclosure for this. I've already part made it now. So one reason I'm doing that is it's going to be a bigger enclosure, so should sound better. Second reason is these controls, you can actually get to them and move them, but I'd have to take the seats out to do that. When I make this enclosure, I'm going to be able to get to the controls from the front through this gap in the seat base. So it should be pretty easy access to it. So I'm going to disconnect all of this now, take the speaker out, and then start taking it to bits to put it into the new enclosure. So this is the amp bit. I've never took an amp to bits. I had no idea how they make them. I wasn't expecting it to be as complex as that. But it all looks pretty good. It's quite neat soldering. But yeah, it's a hell of a lot of components in it. So that's the amp section. The speaker, I don't know really what I'm looking at for quality, but it feels all right. The rubber's quite solid. I expect it's nothing in comparison to really high-end speakers. I expect it's got to do with the coils and the magnets. So I don't really know what I'm looking at. The enclosure itself is actually pretty good, pretty thick MDF, a lot better than I was expecting. I've not got any video of me making this enclosure. It took me ages because of the awkward shape of it. I have managed to get it. I think it's more than double the volume of the original enclosure, so it should improve the sound. The original box is ported, which means it's got a hole and it's got a channel in it. There seems to be reasons for and against porting them, depending on the size of the enclosure, the size of the speaker. So I've decided not to port it, but I could quite easily, I can modify that in the future to port it. So I'm going to carpet this enclosure now, and then put the speaker and the amp in place, and get it into the seat base, and see what a difference that's made. So I've had this in all week, done plenty of driving around with it. I'm also got the music on while I'm doing a campervan conversion in the back. Definitely worth putting a sub in. Really glad I've done it. Whether I recommend this one, I'm not sure. There are a few issues with it. I've got quite a varied taste in music. When I'm working, I tend to listen to house music or hip hop, drum and bass sometimes. When I'm driving, I like to have sort of more rock stuff, Led Zeppelin, Radiohead, Pink Floyd. for rock music or anything with a good bass line is just sounds exceptional. Sounds so much better than without the sub. Hip hop, 90% of it's fine. You get the odd song that it's just a bit too much. Surprisingly, house music, it just doesn't sound great. I'm having to turn the sub off on the screen where it seems to be kick drums. Just doesn't handle it. It just sounds a bit distorted. So I do have some adjustment in the equalizer. So if I go to the under the 80 hertz bit, that's got some sort of control over the sub. Problem with that, it also turns down my normal speakers as well. So really, although it is fine, it's better than I expected for 30 quid. But I don't particularly recommend it because what it could do with, and what a lot of subs do have, is a remote for the volume. So say if a certain song would come on, I could just turn the dial down and that would turn the sub down. So if I were to do this again, I would probably go for a sub with a remote dial that I can turn the sub up and down quite easily. So for now, I'm just going to leave it as it is. I've got other more important things to get on with the camper conversion in the back. In the future, I might try porting the enclosure, see if that makes it any better. I might swap out the speaker for a better quality speaker. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm going to crack on with the back of this van now, and hopefully a few more videos to go and I will be all finished.